Hey guys, welcome to Waste Not Wednesday. We go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time and take junk, things that we've been given for free or pretty darn cheap, and we give it makeovers. This desk was donated to the shop. Somebody left on the back porch. I think it may have came from Joanne AC, but I'm not sure.
It's just legs right now. Let me show you.
And we've been using it like as a mail organization system at the shop, but the reality is they just pile our mail up, so it's not really necessary. And the shop needed that space where this was to organize boxes. Maybe later I'll share a beautiful picture of the box organization for you. So we decided that it's finally time to make this over. When it was given to us, it was left on the back porch. It already had the front off of it, and it was already painted, sprayed. It looks like this creamy color. Not everywhere. It looks like they didn't flip it over and paint underneath the rungs. And they had some bleed through on this side. Yeah. So that's how we got it. Zeb, why don't you tell them what you did this morning? Oh, also, if you need the paint products you're going to see us use today, visit JamieRayVintage.com. The paint, the stencils, everything you can pick up there. Zeb will tell you what he did, though.
All right. So this is pretty much a 50-50 mix of crockery and white linen. And that's what it looks like on the lid of my sprayer.
That's what's painted in here.
We already had this mixed up, and it was pretty close. You can't really tell. I sprayed the whole top up here. This is what was already on there. Someone already sprayed this, but they missed the lip here, and the roll top is missing on this. So we're going to leave this open, do some fun raised stencils on there. One of the feet down here on the bottom is broken. We're just going to work with that. We're going to put a lot of texture on this piece, dark wax it. It's got kind of a slightly crooked leg. The wood is very old. It actually is an antique piece.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably from like the 30s, just off of these like L brackets in here with the screws. Yeah. And the other thing, like I get asked a lot, like what's a good cream color? And I'm going to tell you right now, 50-50 cottage color to white linen is going to give you a really great non-yellow cream.
Yeah, it's a brown cream.
It's a brown cream, which is my favorite. I very seldom ever want a yellow cream. It's really cozy and warm. We're going to show you guys how to use a raised stencil. So we're going to lay this on its side, and Zeb's going to get going. We're going to be using paint frosting. We don't use that a ton, but we do love it for raised stencils because it thickens fast with the cottage colors and just works really well. You could also use salt wash, but I feel like the benefit to paint frosting is just it's not chunky, if that makes sense. It's like a smoother texture for raised stencils. And we're going to be using the Bird Toile JRV stencil that you can pick up at JamieRayVintage.com. This is made to continue. So we'll put it on here and then we'll do a little continuing just to make that go. But we'll have to dry this before we do the other two pieces so it doesn't smush.
All right, so we're using Gray Skies as the base.
Oh, did you just mix that straight up in there?
No.
Oh,
I like the cup better.
Oh, but for blading?
No, that's true. All right, I'll put it on the plate. Can you guys see what I'm doing down here?
Yeah,
Let me angle it down just a little more because we're going to be working right here for a minute.
We're also using the IOD blades. This comes in a 2-pack, and you get a small and a large one. Our large one, where did you say that was?
It's in the barn.
Oh, it's in the barn.
We used it there last.
Okay.
Okay, so Gray Skies. I don't need a ton of this, but I want to mix up enough that you kind of want to go smaller batches. So I probably have 3 or 4 ounces out here on the plate. And then the paint frosting, it just comes in this little container. Almost looks like it's herbal essence.
Herbal essence? Like the shampoo?
I don't know.
It's funny that you even know what that is because I don't use herbal essence.
Okay, so I got more than it calls for. It calls for like a couple drops in quite a bit of it. But I want this to react pretty quickly and get thick. It's already, you can already see it chunking up. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, only mix what you're going to use at a time because it won't keep forever. I'm opening up a can of pedal pusher that got damaged when it was shipped to us. So we always like to use our damaged paint for Waste Not Wednesday. We can't ship it, but we can paint with it.
I'm going to add more paint because that's getting real thick.
So I'm going to paint these legs while Zeb is working on that. And you can kind of see the color scheme that we're going for today. The other benefit to using the cottage color is it has a built-in sealer. So when I wet distress, because I'll paint this over the top, the gray will stay. I don't have to seal it.
Can you guys see though how chunky that paint got? Just that quick with this paint frosting. It reacts so fast with the Cottage Colors. It does not react this quick with the DIY paint.
You better start blading.
I know. I gotta get. I'm like got like runny stuff on the corners and thick in the middle.
It'll be okay. It doesn't have to be perfect.
It's still wet. It's just setting up like a brick over here.
Vicki, we can also send damaged goods. We actually do. Oh, Wednesday, Caitlin. If you have time, can we just pick 6 people that have shared our videos and announce them here? And I will try to re-announce them on Saturday because we have been missing sending our happy mail. We do send damaged paint to people that share our videos. We pick up people every week, or if we forget, we pick a lot of people the next week.
So this would probably be easier with the bigger blade that IOD has. Iron Orchid Designs is what IOD stands for. We get asked quite a bit because we always abbreviate it.
Because it is more searchable, Iron Orchid Designs, as opposed to IOD. I'm like, once you get started, I'm going to have to be a little more careful moving this whole thing around. Should I paint on the side where people can see? It's going to make them crazy that I'm not painting the front.
Okay, so I'm going to start at the back and on the bottom, and then I'll just, on this little corner that I'm going to miss up here, I'll carry that up in a minute.
Can you guys see this kind of where it's brown? That's bleed through. That's from tannins in the wood. It's not a greasy bleed through. It's just wood tannins, and I'm just going to paint over it. That's why I also chose not to stick with a light color, because while I can stop bleed through using Salvation Solution, I don't want to have to deal with that today.
All right, I'm going to zoom you in on what I'm doing here so you guys can see good.
And I'll just be painting pedal pusher over here.
Yeah. All right, got the blade. And we're just going to go. This is going to be kind of like a base coat. So Jamie will probably pedal pusher over the top of this. So I'm not going to really sweat getting it other places.
Yeah, I'm going to do pedal pusher. My first coat is messy.
The nice thing about these stencils, they're industrial grade. They're super thick, so you get quite a bit of raise out of it. It's very noticeable.
Well, and if you use a flimsy stencil, I feel like it's hard to get the raised stencil to look right because it gets underneath it. So the thick stencil does help for that. You could also try to use like a putty knife and stuff, but I actually feel like the silicone blade is the magic ingredient to raise stencils.
The silicone blade makes it so easy. It just puts it on there nice and smooth.
You can also use the blade to do a textured paint finish. You can like do an entire piece just blading the paint on, and you get a really cool look, especially if you're using the DIY paint.
All right, let's see what we got. You want to pull it off pretty quick. You don't want that to cure up.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to flip it around?
No, I'm going to finish continuing.
Oh,
and then I'll
won't
flip.
you mush it?
I'm going to just flip it this way.
Oh, okay.
No, there will be no mushing.
It has to. Okay. Yeah, I would dry it first.
Here, let me dry. It gets all poofy when you dry it.
Yeah, I'm like, I would dry it first, or do the other side and let it dry a little bit.
There's a lot of flipping. I'll just do this top that might get a little thick right there.
Do you guys want to see the piece that I'm going to use for Debbie's inlay? I took a picture of the piece. If you guys have followed me for any length of time, you will recognize the piece. I just want to make sure you guys can see it. See that clock right there?
Bring it down. There you go. That's
this is what I'm going to be using Debbie's inlay on. We have had that clock for years.
Probably 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, for years. I now have 2 legitimate antique clocks. One is in my living room, and it's from France. And then I have some people call it a Mora clock, but it's actually a Norse klocka. It's a Swedish clock. But it's funny because people call all Swedish clocks Moors, but I have an actual Swedish Norse clock, whatever. I have a Swedish clock. So I'm going to paint that one up and use Debbie's inlay on it. I'll probably do that before I go to California. So that way, once the release happens, we can put that video out.
Okay.
Debbie's excited. I actually need to, I'm going to
don't
be in the
have-
next few weeks playing with color and deciding what base color I want to put under the paint inlay. Also, next Tuesday, we will be live. I can't remember exactly what time we'll make an announcement, but watch for us next Tuesday. We'll be live with a new IOD release. I know everybody in the States will be recovering from their Labor Day weekend. We're actually planning on doing a staycation for Labor Day, so I'm kind of excited about that. We're going to have to work a little extra hard.
I'm going to take them all camping over at the property, and we're going to clear trees all day. They don't know it, but that's a staycation.
That's not a no.
I'm teasing. I know we're not doing.
We're gonna order out and we're gonna stay home and swim in the pool. That was what I was planning. Anyways, but we will still have.
We won't be able to do
our
it.
Saturday thrift haul. If we can figure it out, we're gonna try to do this thing where you can like live stream even when you're not live, if that makes sense. And we will also have our video for Monday pre-recorded. I'll just have to go thrifting a different day this week to get ready for next week. Am I saying that I already have her inlay? I do.
Yes.
I do. I will be doing, because it's going to be like I don't know.
It's a promotional.
I don't think they're going to do any sneak peeks like they have with their release for next week.
She showed retailers.
Yes, but I don't know if they're doing public sneak peeks. If they are doing public sneak peeks, then I will get my piece done a little earlier. So that way, if they want to share portions of it, they can. I don't know how they're doing this release, but yes, I do have it. I don't get everything early, but I did get this early from Debbie. Debbie's like, "Are you sure you want it? Like it's because you know Debbie is going to be bright, right?" And I'm like, "Girl, you know I can make things work." One of our most viewed videos is this very bright blended armoire that I did.
It was right after you came back from your first boot camp and you took Dion's
Everybody
class. I think that wasn't that the first time she actually like taught that?
Yes, I was in Dion's second class. I mean, I was at the first event, but the second paint blending class she ever taught. Somewhere I have footage on my phone, maybe, unless I deleted it, of Dion's like first classes that year at boot camp. Yes, I'm using pedal pusher. Jamie probably has. I do. I actually just got all the IOD, the new stuff. I'm having Ivy pull me one of each, so that way I can prep all the projects I want to do for our live video next week on Tuesday for the release.
Yeah, we ought to have time to get it inventoried and up on the website for you.
Yeah, Caitlin's actually already getting it up on the website, so that way it's ready to go next week. You won't obviously be able to see it. It's all drafted, but.
Okay. Can you guys kind of see that swirl pattern on there?
Bird Twirl is one of my
continue
favorite
it.
stencils.
It's a little messy because I pulled the stencil off while it's wet and you really goop it on there. But once we go over this and then bring that back, you'll really be able to see the design.
Can you continue it on the back side? I don't mind the border on the bottom, but I don't like that stark line that goes down.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we'll have to lift it up to do that.
We'll do that here in a little bit. Well, let's flip it, do the other side, and then we can do that in a minute. Because the bottom's okay because it goes down because it's made to piece together, so it's not like stark. Yeah, we also have new stencils coming out pretty soon, so lots of fun stuff.
And we're doing more fall and, well, not really fall, but Christmas
I was hoping that the IOD release would have already happened, so that way the stencil and the, did you smush that?
No, I just hugged the edge a little and I got it.
That they wouldn't collide, but it kind of looks like they are. So it's good.
It's fine.
It's perfect. Everybody's going to be so excited for the holidays. Again, if you guys are just tuning in and you need these products, they're at jamierayvintage.com. The inside is painted with our cottage color line in crockery mixed with white linen, 50-50. And then Zeb is stenciling with gray skies, which is in our cottage color line. And then I'm painting pedal pusher on the base. And I will eventually be painting pedal pusher on the whole piece. And I normally stay more neutral. However, I feel like with the cream inside, wet distressing, I think the blue is going to be pretty.
I realize this is not a paint shirt. Not yet. Maybe after this.
Yeah, the DIY paint comes out pretty easy, but the cottage color.
This is cottage color. If you get it out right away while it's still wet, you can do it. But if it dries, you're done.
I'm going to try to get around the edge of this. This is not that easy to be painting sitting down. I'll find all these spots when I put it upright that I missed. I'm gonna have to get on a stool. Paint the inside.
What did you do?
Are
you not painting?
No, I'm gonna paint the lip. I decided now, but I'm gonna have to use a smaller.
Now we are.
I'm gonna have to use a smaller brush. I'll just use the turquoise iris. Is it the Assistant? I can't remember what it's called. It's like a little artist brush, and it works really well for little things like that, getting that line straight. We could tape it off too if we wanted to, which I might do.
Good enough.
Good enough. Okay.
All right, look how clumpy this is now. How long have we been going? 10 minutes since I mixed this up? It's just, and it's so thick. Like I'm going to really have to mush it on there to get it to go.
Yeah, so make sure you're just mix
like,
up
look
as
at
you go.
Look at it standing up there. It's like clay.
All right.
So if you need to build some quick texture.
I promise to do a better job once we flip this up right.
I'm going to scooch the camera this way so I'm not tripping over cords. All right, but you
need me to stop flopping it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I'll leave it alone for a minute. Melissa says, I love this, y'all. Thank you. We have not done a raised stencil in a while, so I thought it would be fun. We did a French provincial finish last Friday. If you guys haven't watched that video, please check it out. But people have been loving it. Like, we haven't done that style of video in a while. We've been doing more straightforward.
One person was like, throw it in the dumpster, you ruined it. But other than that.
Well, I mean, you can't please everybody.
But it was like 1 out of like 900 comments.
Some people thought I should have done more detail on the mirror, but my personal opinion is it would have looked tacky. I don't want to tell people that because then that means that their opinion is tacky. But like,
you just did.
Okay, yeah. But I trust me in that I thought about putting molds all the way around the mirror. And it's just that
sometimes too much is too much.
I work with a lot of antique furniture, and there's no way that would have ever had that. The little detail we did on the bottom of the mirror, I can show you guys here in a minute if you haven't seen it, because we haven't even put it in the shop yet. But the little detail we did on the bottom of the mirror, I've seen tons of that on antique pieces. But I've never seen a, what's that one? That style, Empire style mirror that has molds all the way around it. So I didn't do that. I really want to try the cottage color. They are so good. And the nice thing is you can buy a pint and it has a built-in sealer. So it's less expensive than having to buy paint and a sealer. And a pint, especially if you're doing smaller things, will go a good long way. The darker the color, the better coverage you're going to get. Vicky says, I don't have gray skies. It is the darkest color that we currently have. We are begging the warehouse to please, please, please come out with darker colors. Debbie is working on them like night and day. And so gray skies, I feel like, is a really critical color to have in your arsenal because it's dark. So you can mix it with the other things to give them kind of a moody dark finish, or it's good underneath things. Like it's the darkest color we have to offer currently. And you can add a little bit of like little black dress to it to make it even darker without ruining the chemical makeup and the finish that's in it. Brendan says, I did my very first stencil last night. It was from the craft kit. It isn't perfect, but was much easier than I thought. I was scared for no reason.
That's awesome.
I love that. Speaking of craft kits, Caitlin, will you link the sale collection? I had to buy the aprons and the towels in bulk to make it inexpensive enough to include both in the craft kit. So I had about 100 aprons and 80 towels left over, and we're selling them super cheap. I'm selling the towels for $1.95 each and the aprons for $4.95 each. So if you need extras to stencil, Christmas, whatever, especially if you already got the craft kit, you could make more with the products we already gave you. And it would be a good idea for Christmas, something inexpensive. And I think we put them in flat rate shipping, so it shouldn't be too bad to ship either. Thanks, Caitlin. She dropped the sale collection. There's also a lot of other things on sale in there, but the towels and aprons should be at the top.
Okay.
Ramona said she loved it. All right, Zeb, would you mind just showing him this piece real quick, just in case?
Yeah, we'll zoom over.
It's just right here.
I don't know if I can zoom that far. All right, so.
Well, I think you could just give him a little pan.
Right around the corner. Hang on.
So if you haven't watched the video, Caitlin, would you mind linking the video to this?
Come on, camera. There we go. There you can see it. Trim on the bottom. And then.
It's funny because we mixed up driftwood and flour sack, which is a brown and white. They're milk paint. That's what we painted on top over the DIY crinoline. And it has a slight lavender hue. It's definitely gray, but it has lavender undertones. And I wasn't expecting that when I mixed them.
There's the whole piece. It's kind of dark over there.
So if you guys haven't watched that video, definitely check it out because that was fun, a fun project. And we did complete it in a day, but it definitely took us all day. Oh, Brendan says, I went to IKEA to look for tea towels and aprons, but the aprons were $15.
Yeah, we got you got your winter project craft supplies for sure.
Yeah, if people really love them, I might do another reorder because I still, at the price I'm selling them at, I'm still making a small profit. But again, I have to order a lot, so we'll see. Maybe once a year I'll do an order like we did this year and just have extra so you guys can have them for the holidays. Is that one for me? No, it's going to go to the shop. We recently sold.
Who asked that?
The piece.
Who asked if that
Vicky.
Was? Oh.
We recently sold a buffet at the shop. Do you guys remember maybe a year ago, whenever the paint inlays came out, is it the parasol inlay, I think?
Was it a year? I don't think it's been a year.
We did paint blue and we did the parasol inlay on the bottom of a hutch. That sold and is being shipped. It won't be shipped for a while, but we'll cover it up and put it in the barn. So that sold. So we're going to move another piece there, and then we had to fill it in a piece. So this will go to the shop. We just haven't taken it yet.
Trying to find.
No, you're good.
I may have gotten crooked. No, I'm still the same.
The good news is it's busy enough. If it's not perfect, nobody's going to know. Just make sure it's right side up.
So I had to mush that a little.
Oh, Ramona's having cataract surgery. I think, did Deborah have cataract surgery? I think she did.
I don't know.
We have cataracts run in my family. The color on the bottom is Petal Pusher. It's dried, so it's a lot lighter than it will be. It's a DIY paint color. I believe it's actually discontinued, but you can still buy it from retailers. I just don't think you can get it on their website. We sell it. So it's called Petal Pusher. It's a pretty good blue. Caitlin said her mom had cataracts. Yeah, I think my mom had cataracts too. It runs in my family on the Taylor side. And my dad, I think, may have had them, but he has blue eyes. Blue eyes are more susceptible. It's a little more rare with brown eyes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to finish painting this while you heat gun that.
Well, I've got to get this edge that you're not liking.
Okay, yeah.
So what she's talking about is this here. We're going to leave this. This is okay. We can live with that. But this here is a pretty straight line edge. And I'm going to put the stencil over the top and get that.
You can tell this is old. It's like not wobbly because it's not sturdy. It's just wobbly because the legs are just slightly irregular.
Just put a little felt pad under one foot and you're fine.
Yep.
Okay, heat gun.
I don't know that we'll get this all the way finished. Our plan is to eventually do dark and clear wax. I will share pictures.
About 25 minutes.
Okay. We'll get at least a portion of it, dark wax and clear wax then.
Just finish one side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This This is kind of a lighter blue than we typically use, but once we dark wax that, it'll moody it right on up.
I feel like dark wax is the perfect option for moody stuff. Well, once I get the back of this painted, I'm going to show you guys. Do you guys remember the nativity a couple weeks ago? Where
she had her lipstick on her cheek.
She had her lipstick and then some of it fell. Like whoever painted it didn't do a great job. We did it up with copper and dark wax, and it is so pretty and elegant now.
Yeah, Mary's lips were like painted on her cheek.
I think there's going to be lots of copper nativities coming up. It did take about 3 coats of the copper patina to get good coverage. It would have been better if I had painted it white first, but it's fine. Okay.
Okay, that's the bottom.
I'll wait till you want to show them this.
Yeah, you can show them.
They see that?
Okay.
So you'll have to watch the live from a few weeks ago because I don't know that I saved the picture of what it looked like before, but it was pretty bad.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
The paint job on there was.
So that's the DIY Pennies from Heaven with a DIY dark wax. It's a good look.
Let me see. This is getting super thick. Let me see if I can even get it mushed on here. Like tempted to add some water to this. I don't know. Never tried that before, actually.
It probably works. I mean, it's water-based. Sorry.
Okay, you guys are going to get the back of my head for a hot second.
It's fine.
While I line this up. Okay, so you can see it doesn't have register marks on it, but I'm all lined up here now on the stencil. Oh, we got a little crooked. Good enough.
It's made to continue. So you could do drawer fronts or the sides of drawers with it. You could do a huge piece. It'd be so pretty, like in one of those big grandfather clocks, if you wanted to just do a background with it. It's kind of folk arty, which is one of my favorite looks.
You could just say folk art.
Folk art. It's kind of folk art.
You're always adding the arty.
I don't know why, but I'm unlikely to stop because once I start something, I usually can't stop even if I want to.
All right, it's looking like a messy stencil because we're really glopping this on and some is getting pushed out underneath. But once we paint that, it'll be fine.
I don't think anybody's worried about it looking messy.
Nope, part of the deal. Okay. Make sure I got my birds upright how they're supposed to be. Wait a second. That was the top there. All right, so we got to go a little higher. There it is. Oh, it flopped over.
All right,
side.
Kaylin just announced the Facebook share winners. Karen Fryer Radford, Vicky Matlock Gunter, Frances Beach Miller, Christina Ann Garza, Karen Smith, and Cindy Hurst. So that's actually for 3 weeks because we've been behind. So we pick 2 every week. If that's you, email info@jamierayvintage.com and we will send you your happy mail. And I will try to remember to also announce it on Saturday's video in case I happen to miss this one. And yeah, so please, if you guys are like this kind of content, if you share it out on Facebook, do so. And I would rather spend money on postage to send happy mail to people than to pay any other way to advertise. It's a huge help for our business.
I'm just going to be on the back side here doing that same thing.
Yes, the raised stencil will be painted over, Rosie, with the same color that's on the base. And then we will wet distress back to the stencil so you can see it. And then it's going to get a clear and dark wax. Can you fix the...
Oh, if we've been on half an hour?
I would fix the camera because he's working, but he doesn't let me touch it. Because me and electronics aren't simpatico. Are you just heat getting it so we can paint over it?
I got to do this side too with the raise.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go get...
But instead of flipping it, I'm just going to do it over here.
That's fine. I'm going to get a little artist brush.
You guys are getting a nice view of like the back wall and the backsplash and ceiling.
Yeah, it's called the Assistant. So I like the Assistant for small work. So obviously this is going to get all painted, but I will show you if I was just going to paint the bottom, how easily you could do that with just this. Well, never mind. Seb moved it. But anyways, having a little brush makes it easier.
Did I move
I am going to paint the whole thing, so I'm not that worried. I'll have to be neater when I do the other side. And if you do happen to get it like a little bit imperfect, then you can just distress it and it'll be fine and nobody will know, except for the thousands of people watching this video.
All right, this is getting pretty thick on me. Just know that I might be better off because it's like pulling it up through the stencil. It's so thick. And you
probably should have done just a little bit at a time.
Yeah. So a little thinner probably would work better, but it'll be what it is. It's okay.
Careful if you're heat gunning it, it will bubble. I actually don't mind if it bubbles a little bit.
Okay, can I borrow that back from you? I got to do this edge so I can continue on.
But I got to get this all the way dry before I paint over it. Because it has a built-in sealer, that's why the paint can bubble. Yeah, that's pretty dry. So I'm going to make sure this is all the way dry, and then we'll get pedal pusher over the top of our stencil. If you were doing this at home, just wait for it to dry on its own. That's really your best option.
It won't take long.
Yeah. With the paint frosting and the cottage color, it's a little bit like poofy paint. Do you guys remember, did anybody ever use poofy paint? I think they still make it, but I haven't used it in a while.
All right, I got to get this off this stencil before we can't.
Yeah, make sure to wash your stencil. Don't leave this paint on there. I feel like the paint frosting makes it stick extra good. Just going to make sure we're dry all the way everywhere. This side needs a little more heat gun. Okay, there goes nothing. Oh no, where did the stencil go? It's under there, I promise. But I might, I thought we were doing dark wax, but I kind of wonder.
You want to do white?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think white will make it too light.
They'll do too light, okay.
I'm being
very delicate because
I think it needs the moody.
A little damp.
All right, good enough. It's wet. It'll soak.
It's going to need at least 2 coats of paint. You'll know it's dry when it's clay paint because it lightens way up. And it will take longer to dry around the edges of the stencil because it pulls up just like if you were to put it on top of a mold or whatever.
Heat gun party.
Sorry, guys. This is the very exciting part where you get to watch paint dry.
I'm going to read comments.
Okay, that will be good.
Oh, looks like all the questions got answered. Oh, here's one. Lisa Jones. Question. Should you add liquid patina to DIY paint when stenciling on material?
No. I had a customer that I recommended do that because I've done it and it worked, but hers just peeled off.
It just peeled it off.
When she tried to heat set it. So it's better to just use. Now, I guess I should say, I take that back. Like if it's like a couch or something, then yeah. But if it's like something that's going to be washed, then I wouldn't do it. I would just use DIY paint and heat set it. If you're doing a couch like Debbie did a velvet couch, you could use liquid patina on that.
So Redeemed asked, go with a darker stencil for the accents if you're going to stencil this again. I just logged on. So it's a raised stencil, so we're going to bring it back with a little bit of distress, wet distress, and dark wax.
It's not supposed to be like super contrasty. It's not like this. That's not what we're doing. But you could do it on the top and make it just like some people do raised stencils and they do it on top. It looks great, but that's not really what we're going for. We wanted a subtle look.
Vicky asked if salt wash would do the same thing with the raised stencil. The answer
it will.
is
It's
yes.
just more textured.
Yep, more textured, and it takes the. So if you're using DIY paint, the paint frosting does not work as fast. But if you're using the Cottage Colors that has the built-in sealer in it already, then that paint frosting just it like reacts with the sealer and it goes quick. And so within half an hour, we've got raised stencils on here. And they're about dry enough that we can paint over them.
I already did.
Yeah, Jamie already did.
I'm going to let this cool down just a bit before I decide to wet distress over the top of this. And I might actually let Zeb wet distress.
Bobby asked if the paint frosting mixture comes off the stencil. Yes, it does, but you don't want to let it like sit there and cure up. You want once you're done with the stencil, wash it.
There's a few areas where it's still a little wet. I'm going to go ahead and second coat this base while we wait for that to cool down.
Okay.
It is dry to the touch. We have done raised stencils before. It's been a really long time. So
it's been like 6 months. I guess that's a long time. And when you're doing
when we do so many
when you're doing
projects,
4
yeah.
videos a week, it's buried back there behind what's 4 times. Let's see. So 16 videos times 6 months. It's a lot.
All right. Do you want to grab a wet washcloth and you can come
64
back and
videos
wet
back
distress
there.
that?
Oh, yes.
There should be washcloths in the drawer.
I'm just going to use this one that's already wet that I used on my shirt.
And we may lightly sand it later. We'll see. I don't know. So we haven't done this for a while.
Hi, Nancy in Sydney.
Just hi? Or did somebody just say hi?
They said hi.
Oh.
This is middle of the night over there.
Where?
Sydney.
Sydney, Australia?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what time it is over there.
All right, you're gonna have to scooch one way or the other.
I'm gonna go.
Probably this
You want
way.
to push me?
Yeah,
Want to push me?
Just a little nudge.
Just a little love nudge.
Okay, so this is damp. I'm not pushing hard because everything's not cured up. And that DIY paint's already on there. Yeah, heat set it.
All right. Well, if you get it wet and then keep running like your rag over it, it will wet distress. Sometimes you have to saturate it. It likes to stick. That's what DIY paint does.
Oh, we got some texture. We pulled a little piece of the mixture off right there.
Because it wasn't dry all the way?
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm just going to go light. I got it wet again. Might need more water on my rag.
Like I said, yeah, because you don't want to have to overwork it. Much better if the base is dried for a few hours before you do this. But we're going to make it work because that's what we do around here.
We're going to force the issue.
We force the issue. Things work even when maybe they shouldn't. So if it works out for us, it's
or you
much
get really
easier for
cool
somebody
texture
else.
chipping right here.
Well, we want it to look old and crusty.
It looks like an old frame where the plaster's coming off of it. Okay, you can start to see that a little there. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Hopefully it's not super blurry this close up.
You use very, very, very little paint frosting. Like that one container we've had for a hot
minute. Like I probably used like 8 drops and it's still this full.
The more you use, the more reaction you will get.
Yep. Okay, now I let that water sit on there for a minute. It's really coming off better now. Still gonna have to work with
I
it.
still think we might need to white wax it.
I don't know.
Because I just feel like the stencil detail is going to come out
So
better.
what we should do, over white waxing it,
Do you
I would
want to
dry brush it.
Dry brush it or whitewash?
Oh, whitewash. I love
It
a
would
good
look like-
wash.
If we did a whitewash, it would look like denim. We also could have just done white for the raised stencil too.
I just think you're going to lose a lot of that stencil if you go with the white wax.
All right, let's try a whitewash. Well, let's make a big mess of our kitchen. I don't recommend washing anything.
And then you can still
inside
dark
your
wax
house.
over the whitewash.
Yeah. All right. Who sells the paint frosting? So it's made by DIY Paint, and we carry it at JamieRayVintage.com. It is all natural, totally safe to use inside your house, and should work with multiple kinds of paint. I just don't know what else because I only use it with cottage color and DIY paint because that and milk paint is all I ever paint with. We get a lot of questions about paint we don't use. And honestly, there's no reason for me to use a paint that we don't carry because I like what we carry. So I don't know other brands that well.
I was going to say, typically if we're using it on the channel, short of like the heat guns, and we got an affiliate link for those, we carry it because we want you guys to be able to find it. And, if we're using it, it's something tried and true that
my hairs.
I don't want to say perfected, but we've gotten better at using it before we typically show you guys a technique. And there are a lot of people out there that go way neater than us and take more time. Let's get this project done.
Well, I like the way it looks when it's not perfect.
Okay, so it's wet, but you can see some of that distress. You can see the light picking it up, how it's wet on that. There we go. I'm going to heat gun it again, and then we'll wash it.
Maybe heat gun that whole side because it's going to fall down. Yeah, pedal pusher is really pretty. We haven't used it that often, and I probably should. We have so many products that I go through phases, and sometimes it takes me a while before I get back to something. I don't even know how many paint colors I have between Sweet Pickins.
You can really see
DIY.
that raised stencil where it's drying out the high spots. You can see that pretty good there. And we did lose some of it. None of this is cured. And when I went to wet distress, we found some wet spots that were a little thicker.
It's all right.
I feel like it actually makes it more aged.
Yeah, for sure.
Because over the years, you're going to lose some plaster or some carved detail is going to break, and it's going to make it look like it's actually old.
I'm fully capable of making stuff look nice and neat and brand new, but that's not what I want to do.
I want to see if I can get you guys.
That's what you go to RC Willey or the new furniture store for.
Okay, there you can see the detail. And now we're going to bring that out with a wash. I might go with a little bit thicker wash.
We'll see what happens. I'm just going to be over here second coating this base.
Let's see.
We get asked a lot, what can you do? I like the DIY paint when it's light, when it dries, but I don't want it dark when it seals. If you want to seal your piece, it will darken. That's just the way it is. You can add white to it before you get started to make it lighter.
All right. White linen, cottage color here. Going to go add some water to that. I added about an inch of water on the top.
So if you hear me breathing heavy, I'm on one leg like a flamingo trying to reach. So I'm on Zeb's way.
That might have been too much water. Oh, I need to heat gun this. I'm going to add just a little bit more.
Do you want me to?
We're probably up to 2 ounces of paint now. To probably 4 So 2 parts paint, 4 parts water, 1 part paint, 2 parts water, however you want to do that. Let's reduce it down.
All right, I think I've got pretty good coverage on the bottom. Is that your stencil? Yes, this is the Bird Toile stencil designed by me. And you can pick it up at jamierayvintage.com, or if you have a retailer, just check with them because we have over 200 stencils, so they may or may not carry it.
But they can get it if they don't have it.
But they can order it in if you're patient.
So jrvwholesale.com is where you can find the retailer map.
And we carry a lot of products, so that's why I say check, because not every retailer, some retailers only carry paper, some retailers only carry stencils. Some of them don't carry all of them because it's just, we don't require retailers to carry everything. We have a lot of products. I'm just doing this edge, trying to be delicate so I don't have to tape it off.
A little distress will fix a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just heat gunning down below before we wash this. All right, here we go. Can we just wash the whole thing, legs and everything?
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to be delicate when we do this part because I don't want to wash the inside, but it'll wipe off because it's already been painted with cottage color and has sealer on it. How's that looking?
Washed.
Washed. Got it.
Now, because this is so thin, when this dries, we'll come back. Maybe when it's like halfway dry, we will come back and wet distress some more. Pull some of that off of there. And it's going to lighten up as it dries because it's very thin.
The thing about faux finishes is you can't just expect to do 2 techniques and get something that looks like it's been aged for so long. Oh, sorry. Am I messing up your whitewash right there on that line?
No, it's, I mean, yes.
Just let it dry. And then you can whitewash it again. Sorry. Let me get this.
I kind of wanted to blend it a little.
Okay.
Oh, that worked good.
Perfect. I'll just go ahead and get the rest of this ledge finished here.
So it looks like we got rid of all that pedal pusher. We did not. It's going to come back.
It lives underneath. It lives again. If I happen to get any pedal pusher where I don't want it, I will wipe it back before I seal it. Like right up next to this beam.
Yeah, don't hit your head.
If I was any taller,
you're standing on the island.
I remember when you built this island, you're like, I'm going to make it super sturdy. And it's probably.
I told you I made it so you can dance on it.
Yeah,
and look at what you're doing.
I'm not dancing, but I am painting. I need the bigger brush. Woo! Oops. Well, good thing that's already painted and sealed. I dripped a little. There's a little drippy do.
So if you can't see what I'm doing down here, I'm just painting these legs with the whitewash.
Can they see what anybody's doing? I'm probably
yeah, they can see what you're doing.
I'm just finishing painting this base coat on here because I don't like to do nothing. Although I probably should check comments. I did drip a few spots here, but DIY paint is water soluble until it's sealed. So I should just be able to wipe that off. Let me go get a paper towel.
So when you're washing, one of the tricks, it's pretty easy. You start high and work your way low. But if you get like a brush stroke or a place you missed, it will be fairly obvious. So you need to make sure that you're still doing like full coverage, unless you're just going to do on the top and like drip it down.
I got a lot of drippy doos. Shh, don't look.
Okay, I won't look.
We're going to distress it anyway, so it's good. But We need some music. I don't have a lot of rhythm, so I don't know if you want me to dance. Tanya says their humidity is a beast.
Ooh.
We are not humid here. Anybody from Florida, how are you doing with the recent hurricane? I actually just texted one of my BFFs. She doesn't text me back.
My dad, they're getting the residuals of storms in Alabama. They got 2 inches of rain in an hour last night, which is a lot of rain.
It was in Alabama, so it's a whole nother world. There's a launch of it's Tuesday, Leslie. Tuesday is the launch for IOD.
I thought it was Wednesday it's the 5th, isn't it? The 5th is the date.
I don't know.
Whatever.
No, it's not the 5th. Is it the 5th? I don't know.
Whatever day. I think you've been telling people wrong.
It's Tuesday. What's the day on
Caitlin
Tuesday?
knows.
Yeah, it's the 5th.
Is that Tuesday?
Joyce says, depends on where you're at in Florida. I'm Southwest. We had high water and high winds, but we're okay in Marco at this time. Good. Oh, she's talking about the IOD release for Debbie's. That's different. So Debbie's inlay is happening the end of September. But the holiday release, which is not the same thing, is going to be on the 5th of September. Would you seal milk paint before applying decoupage? No. I don't know why. I don't seal DIY paint before I decoupage it, so I would say no. It just depends on I guess if it was like super chippy, you might have an issue. I don't know. I don't see why you would though.
All right, let's bring all that hard work back. You want to go get the dark wax? I think we're going to need it.
It looks good. Like you can see where it pulled up kind of around the stencil. I like it. Dark wax. I'm trying to remember where I put it. I just put it up this morning.
There's not a lot left. Luckily, you don't need a lot.
If I dug through here, though, I could probably find there's a few containers.
All right, so now we have original paint color. Well, it's probably natural wood underneath that. Someone had painted it before we got it because I didn't do cottage colors on the side. That's just on the inside there. And then we did the paint frosting and the cottage color mix with the raised stencil. Then Jamie did the DIY paint pedal pusher on there. Now we've got a wash. Then we're going to probably clear wax, which is going to add some more dimension all on its own. And then we'll dark wax, which is going to take it even next level. So what is that, 5 different layers?
There's a lot of, yeah. Leslie, 9:30 is the release for the inlays. So if that's when
that's
the
Debbie's
inlays are released. The rest of the items, the holiday stuff, is Tuesday. So there will be no inlays released on Tuesday.
I'm going to go rinse this.
We will have molds, stamps, and transfers on Tuesday.
Okay. There we go. There's Jamie back. I'm going to go rinse this real quick.
Ta-da!
And then we'll wipe some of that wash back.
All right. I'm just going to sit here and respond to comments.
So because I used cottage color that does have a built-in sealer, the wash is going to be a little tougher than like if I just used DIY clay-based paint, but not that much. We watered it way down.
Yeah, you should be able to wet this dress through, especially since it's just got done. If you wanted to be more water soluble, you could use the DIY paint instead of the white linen. I like the white linen just because it's a bright white.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Ooh, that's good. The white with the pedal pusher, like the contrast, it just looks like really old and oxidized. I would go a horizontal with your distressing so that way you counteract the vertical drippy of the wash.
Yeah.
That's good. Leslie says she's good. Amy says this is an exciting time of year for furniture painters. It is. I always like it anytime I can get my hands in the paint. That's the best part of our job is that we pretty much paint something almost every day. Sometimes it's just a little thrift flip because I'm trying to work through my pile, which we are currently working through from last week. But sometimes it's a bigger piece of furniture and it's fun. Oh, I like that. And then when we seal it, it's going to be even more contrasty because that pedal pusher underneath is going to get way darker.
Let that dry for a sec. I'll dry these legs up and distress them. What time is it?
It's 10:58, so we have time to clear and dark
I got like
wax.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we usually start a few minutes late, so we're good. It's important if you're going to do a whitewash like this, like you start with a slightly darker color. So pedal pusher, I think, even though we weren't planning on a whitewash, was a good choice because it doesn't completely wash it out, if that makes sense. Jan says, hi from Texas. I always enjoy watching your videos, but I particularly notice how kindly and respectfully you speak to each other. You are a special couple.
Sometimes we get sassy.
True.
But it's okay.
Sometimes we interrupt each other.
It's like usually in jest.
I think when somebody is your favorite person in the entire world that ever existed, I just feel like you treat them different.
Yep. The legs.
Oh, you are washing that paint right off.
But the legs are good, though. Look at it on camera. Look at it.
Careful. I think the paint was still a little wet, not completely dried in the back from my second coat.
Oh,
so
maybe,
you took it off quite a bit
okay.
there.
We'll make it it's going all dark wax. That's going to bring it all back together.
I wish I knew more Spanish. I could read it. Hola, querida, diga hoy para o Brasil. Something about Brazil and hello. My Spanish is not what it used to be. Lori says, love it now. Wasn't sure about the wash. The legs are awesome. I feel like the wash is always a really great choice to have something look oxidized and old.
Well, and we got back to the paint a little bit too. Okay. We might go just a hair over.
That's all right. Caitlin, if you happen, Google Translate says, hello, dear. Say hi to Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Hola, Brazil.
Is that?
We had somebody comment.
But is that Spanish or Portuguese?
Portuguese, but it's pronounced the same.
Is it?
People with brown eyes have over 2 times greater chance of cataracts. Who knew? Maybe it's because we don't wear sunglasses as often because
they're not as sensitive to the light.
Because Zeb is like overcast. He's like, oh, it's so bright.
The snow's bad too.
Does pedal pusher look like periwinkle? I would say water lily is closer to periwinkle than pedal pusher. It's like a true light blue without being a baby blue, in my opinion. So would you use dark wax on Blue Hills? Absolutely. That would be gorgeous. One of the things I want to try is Blue Hills mixed with gray skies and then dark wax.
So I got this creamy DIY paint.
You need to switch the angle. Sorry.
I'm up above. And I had a little bit of dark wax in my brush because we were using it to erase some dark wax, which is going to be fine because I'm going back with dark wax.
Sorry, it's going to go blurry in and out because it's trying to decide if it should focus on Zeb's arm or the piece.
The side of my ear.
I like the way that looks.
It's a good opportunity to clean the wax brush out too. So the wash is a good way, if you're not going to use milk paint, to get you some of that chippy crackle goodness, some of that worn aged effect. That's what the wash really does.
That's a good question. Kim says, do we clean our wax brushes? I should say, should you clean your wax brush? Periodically, you should use warm water and like a degreaser, like a Dawn dish soap, and clean your wax brush because they will get chunky, or just always keep them in a Ziploc bag so they don't dry out.
Yeah.
Do we clean our wax brushes? No, but we
sometimes get like crusty, and that's when we wash them.
Yeah, we use our wax brush frequently enough that it doesn't ever dry all the way out, if that makes sense. So it's really like a non-issue. If you're using a bigger fat wax brush, sometimes it can take longer to clean it out. I use these little ones for dark wax, our JRB stencil brushes, and these are actually pretty easy to clean out because they're not as big. Evelyn says, I love watching you too. I'm sure my mister is tired of me talking about your great finds. If he's not into junk, he might be tired of it.
This was used for canning recently.
Yeah, that's been washed, but the canning jars made their mark.
The heat did the trick. Okay, so I'm just wiping the excess clear wax because I want my dark wax to be dark. I don't want it to be like half clear wax that's left on here and half dark wax.
It does look like worn blue jeans. If you used Hey Sailor, you could really amp that up as well instead of pedal pusher. It's going to look a little bit splotchy, but it will calm down the splotchiness after about 24 hours. So be careful and be patient when you're using dark clear wax with DIY paint. We call it the wow factor. People freak out, but it will get less splotchy.
Okay, so DIY dark wax. And I'm just going to go. Sometimes I do like a hint of wax places, but we've got an all over design, so I'm going to all over wax. And this is just one little dip. It goes so far.
Always clear wax before you dark wax.
Work in sections too. Don't be like, oh, I'm done. I can just, throw wax on the whole thing and come back.
Except, can you fix it? It's doing the thing where it blurs in and out. It's like really
It's because it's
struggling.
zoomed in.
There we go. It's on the struggle bus.
I'll give you guys a close up in a second.
But you can see how, since it's been clear waxed first, that dark wax is really easy to wipe off, and it's just going to stick down into that raised stencil.
I may have wiped too much off, but we'll get the rest of this done.
I will make sure to take good pictures and video of this when we're done, because I'm not sure that the camera picks up the look, but it looks almost like, if you guys have ever used embossed wallpaper, it looks kind of like that. If you've ever painted over embossed
Here,
wallpaper.
I'm gonna leave it on a little longer.
Yeah, I like
wipe
it better with more dark wax. So you really want to bring that out.
Yeah, I went right back. If I need to, I can pull it back some.
It's going to take us like another hour to finish this all the way, but it'll be good.
So we'll have 2 hours into it, 4 if you count that there's 2 of us.
Well, I'm mostly just reading comments at this point. See you later, Carolyn.
All right, so I'm going to get the legs done and then we'll go.
Okay. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, I don't really like how subtle it is, if you wanted to make it more dramatic, you could just do a raised stencil over the top. Don't paint over the top of it, and then just do a clear and dark wax, and then you would have a two-tone look. So you don't have to do it like we're doing. We're doing multiple layers because we want it to look old and decrepit like old embossed wallpaper, but there are different ways you can use raised stencils.
Yeah, you can have whatever color you mix in with your paint frosting be your final color.
And also, this is a pretty dramatic finish around the edges, but when you look straight on at the piece, the nice resting point is going to be the cream inside, and then we're going to distress everything with the orbital sander a little bit on the inside, and it'll just look kind of aged and worn. So it's going to be good.
Okay. The legs are actually what's making this, I think.
Yeah, the
to
legs
be
are
honest. The raised stencil is really cool, but these legs are looking good the way the wash came off of them.
Vicky says, I like the frosting without the blue and the bottom blue. It was fun. So many ideas. Yeah, you could get really funky. Like, not by funky, I like bad, but funky cool. Like, you could really do some fun stuff with this.
Well, and you can also like do layer on layer on layer with the raised stencils.
And you could also just stencil the side of it. Like, the raised stencil for me is about layered texture, but you could just stencil the side of it. It'd be really cool too. It could look like wallpaper. Thanks, Nancy and Mary. They said, bless you, because I sneezed. At first I read that, bless you, and I was like, that's weird. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just sneezed. Oh, that's a cool look on the bottom.
Yeah, I told you the bottom is really turning out good.
We're loving these grungy finishes, like the old and dated and textured. It's good.
So you'll notice I'm not waiting too long to take this wax off because I don't want it to be that dark. I want the white and the...
How am I going to paint the roll top part? The roll top is not, it was actually was never roll top. It was actually one of like where it just like comes down, and we don't have that part. So it will remain open always because that part was gone when we got it. So we actually filled the holes a little bit. That's not perfect, but fill the holes because we're not planning on putting a top that covers. It'll be just an open desk with cubbies, which I like. I actually really love cubbies.
All right, if you remember, I came back over here and did the wax. So now I need to pull back a little bit of this dark wax again.
Oh, that's cool. We'll do a zoom in so that way you guys can see it. Does somebody else ask? Periwinkle, I don't, petal pusher is not periwinkle. Water lily is closer. Petal pusher is more of just a light blue without being a baby blue.
Okay, so once this settles down, some of these highs and lows will go away, but it's got to cure up.
Yeah, it'll be less splotchy.
Okay, let me see if I can get you a good pan in. When I'm doing this, I also check and make sure that I can't see like patterns from my fabric of the rag that I was using.
That happens.
You don't want to see those streaks. Okay, let's see how the zoom in.
Okay, tap the screen because it's still blurry. There we go. Now we can see it.
I'm gonna try to go flying with my camera here. It's risky because it's hooked up to a bunch of cables, but
well, it's dark. Like it's not showing up as bright. In real life, you can tell what the texture of the. There you go. Now you can see that raised stencil. This one will be sold. Eliza needs a desk, but she needs a desk vanity. So if this was like just flat on the top and had drawers, it would work for her.
Look at this. Look at this leg right here. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's good.
It's almost got like some crackle.
All right. That's all right, Caitlin. We're going to be gone probably by the time you get back, and I'll monitor comments till you get back. All right. Do you want to show them the front so they can see what it looks like head on? It's actually not going to be that dramatic head on because the detail is on the side, but there we go. So the front will still get the wash and the dark wax, and the inside will remain cream. We'll lightly distress the inside that's cream to bring back some of the dark undertones of the wood that it was before we painted it. And then it'll just have like this really cool extra detail on the side. So we actually did a lot of work for something that might not be seen a ton, but it's fun. That's why we like it.
It was just a fun texture that we wanted to add some little bit of detail to this big flat side over here.
Yeah, I love, and this piece, my favorite thing is all the cutouts, the turned legs. Like, it's just really cool.
Yeah, the legs actually turned out way good.
So we'll get this finished all the way, and I will be sure to take pictures, maybe some slow-mo video. Maybe I'll make a reel or something so you guys can see what it looks like finished. If you guys need any of these paint products, you can visit JamieRayVintage.com. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jamie Ray Vintage for more
DIY.
We'll see you on the next episode.